Hey guys, my name is Kendrick and welcome to ENFP Male. Today I have the pleasure of interviewing Bradley Rodgers.
Rodgers, that's correct, yeah.
Rodgers. That's like the not usual spelling of Rodgers.
Right, yeah, it's super English. I'm actually from the UK originally, so that's where the name comes.
And do you live in the US now or what?
I do, yeah.
Where in the US do you live?
California.
California? Oh, I see. So Bradley, you were typed as an ESFP, SEFI, and then what's the rest of your animals and sexual modalities that you got back?
My animals were consume, play, sleep, last, and my animals FM visual.
And your SEFI, is that correct?
That's what I typed, yeah.
Okay, so before the interview started, you told me that you were consume, sleep, play, blast, but now you said you're consume, play, sleep, blast.
Oh, is that what I said?
So yeah, that's what.
Wow, I'm sorry. I meant consume, sleep, play.
Yeah. So because if you were consume, sleep, then you would be a lot more introverted than if you were consume, play.
Right.
And talking to you right now, you do seem quite introverted. Would you agree with that? That you're quite introverted?
Yeah. Like if you want to go into MBTI for just a second, I'm like 80-90% introverted every time I take the test. So yeah, I'm not an EP extrovert.
So in objective personality, you're a very extroverted ESFP.
Right.
In MBTI, then you would be an ISFP. Then would that be correct?
Wow. Actually, I identify as INTP in MBTI, so that's like completely different from like the type of
Yeah, and which one do you relate more to, the ESFP or the INTP?
I mean, definitely the INTP. Like, if you just were to go from like a letter by letter standpoint, I know like an OP, like the 2 hour letters are a temperament. They don't really stand by themselves, but in terms of like based on how MBTI described their dichotomies and their cognitive functions, then like INTP fits me like really, really well.
Okay.
But I can see why like I'd be an EP in OP and not an IP, for example.
Okay, well,
and, yeah.
Would you say you're a double decider? Like you're pretty balanced with self and tribe? Are you able to see the point of view of the tribe while at the same time you don't have a problem kind of making fun of yourself here and there? You know?
I mean, that's the part of double deciding I don't really resonate that much with. Like I can I definitely have like a weirdness around like things and information.
Yeah.
But in terms of the whole double deciding, like I suck, you suck, it's like I acknowledge both sides of the coin, but I do like very solidly side self like 80% of the time.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well, can you talk about that then? Talk about how you side with self most of the time.
It's more like sometimes I try to appease a tribe, but because both of my D functions are in the bottom half of my animals, it's like I don't want to do that naturally.
Yes.
So I'm very cognizant of like of what the tribe is doing and how my actions affect the tribe, but I don't really what I'm trying to say. I don't really consider it an impede. I don't really consider it like a roadblock. Like I sometimes get really annoyed when I want to like consume sleep introvert and they're like in my way of doing that. But I'm not really into like the whole tribe martyrdom thing that I think some, I guess, double deciders, and basically anyone who's like not an IP might be doing.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, again, it is like a scale, right? So like some people like it is 60-40. So according to them. So like some people might be like more on the far side of like self all the time. And other people might be like really like every single decision is like really like, what do I do? But for me, it's pretty much solidly self.
Well,
more often than not.
Why don't we talk about your tidal waves then? So let's talk about tribe. How much tribe tidal waves do you get, and how do you experience that?
I don't know. Mostly it's just like burning resentment.
Towards you? Towards you?
No, my budding resentment towards them.
Okay.
Because I really do resonate with like the whole EP thing of like don't control me.
Okay.
And sometimes it feels like the tribe is like trying to own me. So
Yeah.
I like want to do something new, and it's like, but what, you're not going to do this thing again that you've been doing for like 3 years? It's like, no, I want to do something new.
Yeah.
Just leave me alone. And it's like the longer you do something, it's the more they feel like you're obligated to them or like locked into them. It's like, no, that's not that, you misunderstand me.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna try this thing. I don't want to like stick around. I mean, I like you guys, but I have other things to do. So.
And what about your tidal waves with, supposedly you have NI last, right? So
yeah.
Can you talk about potential? Do you have any tidal waves with controlled in? I mean, you kind of talked about it already, but this is more the NI control, like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really like the whole like NI, the demon NI paranoia.
Yeah.
I don't really. I mean, I don't get conspiracy theory weird, but I can often be like paranoid about people and like irrational about what people are thinking of me. That might be like a demon tribe thing as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes I do get like irrationally paranoid about like how people are perceiving me, and I might like alter my behavior based on what I think they're thinking, even though it's like completely unfounded in reality.
Yeah. So can you talk about that paranoia then? Like, do you have any examples? Like any specific examples?
Any specific examples? I mean, it mostly shows up with like a sense of avoidance. Like, I tend to. I don't have like any concrete examples really, but like if I can like avoid a certain situation, it's okay. Do I have like a good metaphor? Sorry, consume sleep troubles.
That's okay, dude. That's okay. Like,
yeah.
Did it happen to you in the past? Just any, do you have any stories where this could have happened?
See, people. No, it's that's really hard to say. I feel like it's happened so much. It's like it's hard for me to like pinpoint one like extreme example.
Is it because you have a feminine SE that you have trouble with like the sensory memory of
I mean, I know I have feminine sensory.
Yeah.
But, yeah, for sure. I mean, I find it really hard to see like the masculine intuition in me.
Yeah.
But feminine SE would be really easy to see because I don't really recall. I have a hard time remembering like sensory details unless someone's presenting me with details that are wrong. And then I immediately know that they're wrong. But unless like I have a need to correct someone on like a sensory detail, then it's like it's really hard to like recall things, I think.
And you are masculine with a tribe.
Yeah.
But yourself above tribe. So how does that play?
Just like I feel like every like introverted decided judgment I reveal could like potentially destroy me if it's rejected by the tribe. Is how I experience that. I mean that's mostly like I don't see masculine DE as much as feminine DI, but it feels like every single like intimate detail about myself is not really set in stone, and I feel like it could change at any moment. And if what I'm thinking or feeling is like invalidated by someone else, I really start to like question my beliefs.
And do you have massive mood swings as a result of having that feminine FI?
Not as much as I used to. Like I used to get really terrible like moody and passive aggressive and like bitchy and all that like in my childhood, like really snappy. It's like but I sort of like mellowed out in the teenage years, and yeah, sort of like became more emotionally numb at that point too. So.
Oh wow! Do you want to talk about that? How does that feel to be emotionally numb?
It's sort of like an indifference to like other people's emotions. I mostly have an easy time recognizing and validating, but it's really easy to validate my own emotions, I find.
So
It's like I can be aware that I feel something in the moment, but I can like take an action to like just it's not a big deal and like sort of like shove it until it like builds up and overwhelms me.
so you have like you kind of have an emotion that you start feeling,
Mm.
and then you maybe start numbing that emotion so you don't feel it, and then later on it catches up to you and it blows up in your face. Is that kind of what you're saying? Or
Yeah, it's sort of like I rationalize it away,
yeah,
and then eventually it gets into a point where it's sort of like just building up. I'm like kind of aware of it, so yeah, it just builds up, and it's like I say I'm not. I say to myself I'm not mad, and I do something like that displays my anger, like snap at someone.
yeah.
Then it's like, okay, I guess I am mad. I should probably check on probably should check on myself at that point.
Yeah. So you are the feminine masculine. You're very visual. Can you talk about
Well, I
that?
mean, it mostly applies to like learning style. If I'm given instructions, I either have to like visualize it in my head beforehand,
Oh, I see.
or I will ask them to like demonstrate in front of me so I can like see how they're doing it and like sort of get a good idea of what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah,
And then I can sort of like visualize myself doing it and then do it after.
gotcha. And
Yeah.
are you working right now, or are you going to school?
I'm working for now. I might be well, one of my what okay. I work in a warehouse and then
Yeah,
like an office warehouse building,
yeah.
and they're moving the office, but they're moving the office in the same state, but they're moving the warehouse out of state.
Okay,
So I still don't know if they're gonna like put me in the office or like just let go of me.
oh,
So for now I have a job, but who
so that
knows?
so that's your job right now, or that's
That's my job right now. Yeah.
okay? So you're moving stuff in the warehouse. That's your job right now.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting ready for the move. So
Okay,
yeah, right now I'm just like packing up the warehouse.
gotcha. And
Yeah.
what would be your ideal job if you can pick one?
Um, Probably something involving like classical music because I'm a classically trained clarinetist,
Okay,
and that's where I have. I mean, most of my background in music is like playing clarinet. So
yeah.
it'd either be like playing that or like writing music or something like that. I don't know. I don't know like in what capacity, but in some way I'd be involved in that.
So that's kind of like if you could be that way right now, you would be a professional clarinet player. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know about that, but I'd definitely be like in the scene doing something around music, maybe possibly teaching, but maybe like playing as well.
So you want to teach music as well, or
Well, that's sort of like the thing to do. That's like probably like the most popular of the music majors, like the music education with music performance, like sort of behind that. So,
so Dave and Shan, when they talked about double decider versus double observer,
hmm
they said that double decider are they have problems with fear, while people with double observer have problems with pain. So
yeah.
to give you an example, someone that might have problems with pain, I interviewed an INFP before, and he said that
Mhm.
there was this one girl that he really liked and he wanted to talk to her. He
hmm
wasn't scared up until the point where he was about to talk to her, and that's what freaked him out because he didn't want to get emotionally rejected because it would hurt him so much emotionally. So he was scared of the pain, not approaching that person. While someone that has problems with fear would be more scared of approaching that person, not so much of the actual words that they say to reject you. So it's I don't know if that makes sense, but
Uh, I mean,
so what do you avoid? Do you avoid pain more, or are you more stopped by fear from doing the things that you want to do? What is the bigger problem for you, pain or fear?
it's a really hard question to answer because I have like plenty of both.
Yeah.
So, but which one am I more afraid of? Um,
And if you need any examples, let me know. I'll give you some examples.
Yeah. If you could give some examples, that might help.
So for me, fear is my biggest issue. I'm an ENFP,
right.
And as a result, I'm a double decider. So fear is always my constant. It's always there. Like, when I was, in a dating scene before I had my girlfriend, I was scared to approach a girl because I was scared to, just scared to approach them. It's not even getting rejected. It's like the approach itself made me anxious. I mean, there was something about it, doing that just freaked me out.
Okay, I get it. Yeah.
But like when I got rejected, it did hurt, but it only stung for a moment. I never really dwelled on it for a long time. Like I got over it pretty quickly. Like after, like a week or so, or like a few days. It wasn't something that me. So I don't know if that helps.
It does help actually, because it's actually like I identify with like fearing the pain, but then I actually do it, and it wasn't painful at all. I was like, that wasn't so bad. But like I have a hard time like remembering that for the next time. So that like the fear is constant for me.
Oh, so you're fearing the pain, but when the pain happens, it's like, okay, it's
it's like this isn't so bad. Yeah.
yeah. So I'll give you an example from what I've seen with double observers. Okay. So I once knew this one guy who was an EJ, and he doesn't like going to the gym because he doesn't like being sore. And the feeling of being sore is too much for him. He cannot handle it. It's so much of a pain in the ass for him that he just refused to go to the gym because he doesn't want to be sore. And he wasn't the only person that was a double observer that said this to me. I also had a client once who was an INTP, I believe. And when I was training him, he would get upset at me when he would be too sore the next day. While because I work in the fitness industry, and if I trained someone that was a double decider and they were sore the next day, they were like, "Oh man, I feel good. I'm so sore." Yeah, it's completely different attitude towards it, right? So that's kind of like when I realized, I'm like, oh, okay, so what Dave was saying, where double observers are trying to avoid pain while double deciders are having issues with fear, that makes perfect sense. So when you said that, you're like, yeah, that wasn't so bad. So pain is not your problem; it's fear. So you're definitely a double decider then in that case.
Yeah, it's like it's one of those things where it took me a while to register that the temperaments were so different, like IP versus EP. Yeah. So I assume like I for introversion, but that's not necessarily the case in OP. So I talked with them about the typing video I made over email, and they sort of like pointed it out to me. I was like, yeah, you know what, that's right. Yeah, I guess that leans me towards EP over IP.
Yeah, and you said that you don't like people controlling you, telling you what to do. So you definitely have an extreme issue with the tribe. And you're definitely very above tribe. So not quite, not quite like 90-10.
90-10, yeah. I mean, I've definitely seen sorry to interrupt, but I've definitely seen like the IP like to sort of villainize everything is just like, calm down. You're being irrationally upset. There's no reason to be this upset. It's like they didn't do anything. You're just seeing things that don't exist. Just cool it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So would you agree that your bigger problem is actually the tribe, not so much someone control, or would you say control is the biggest problem? The tribe trying to control you?
Well, that's really hard because even though like D, E, and OI are like the bottom of my stack, the OI is activated. So in some ways, it does feel like D is like the bigger problem.
Yeah.
And with me being, play demon, it's really easy to feel like resentment against the tribe without the deactivation to like sort of like help me along. What was your question? I already forgot it.
So yeah, you definitely had the feminine SE is definitely apparent because you're so the question was, what is the bigger problem? Is it getting along with a tribe, like, sacrificing yourself to do nice things for other people? Or is it like them just trying to control you, like trying to tell you what to do? What is like trying to tell you how you should live your life. What is the bigger?
That's a bigger issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty tough. It's because I've definitely felt the pain of like the single decider. So the even though I'd say I have more fear in general, the pain is definitely what like sticks out of my mind.
Yeah.
From either from like burnout of like playing the tribe or feeling resentful for the tribe like trying to control me. Because most of my alliance with the tribe is from them trying to control me, not from the individuals themselves, really.
Do you go out of your way to do nice things for people?
I used to. I used to go out of my way, and now I do it less. I mean, I'm not like a big asshole about it, but I won't say yes automatically anymore, as I used to.
So,
I used to be really good about like appeasing people, but not so much anymore.
So yeah, talk about that. So you said you used to do it a lot. So what was that like when you were doing it a lot?
Yeah, I know. It felt like I knew like the right answer was to help the tribe.
Yeah.
And even though the response was like, you don't have to be doing this thing. It's like, no, I want to, even though I didn't really. So after finally accepting, that I am able to put myself above the tribe, like I want to.
Yeah.
After I sort of like let myself do that, it was really easy to like set up boundaries and say no and not feel bad about it. But initially, I had troubles doing that. I felt really guilty about saying no.
Do you but now you said you do it less, but do you still do it for certain people that you really, really like?
Yeah, but not right now. I'm lucky enough in my life to actually have people in my life that actually want to help.
Yeah.
So now it feels less of a burden. But in the past, it's been like just random people I have like no obligation to, don't even like, still can't say no to them.
I see. Yeah, it's. Can you talk about your NI a bit? Do you know how to use it? How does it? Anything?
I can't. And an even more annoying thing is that's supposed to be masculine, so it's supposed to be like pushing on people with it.
Yeah.
But that's probably like the biggest thing about the SEFI typing that I might be able to see feminine sensory, and I might be able to see like feminine FI, but the masculine and the masculine TE is what I have the hardest time seeing, because I don't know, I don't feel masculine TE compared to like the stereotype of like just like really obnoxious pushing on people.
Yeah.
It's like the right thing to do and like the objective truth. Like I don't necessarily see that in myself. And the like I guess the piercing directness of an eye is I don't really feel like my use of an eye is like direct. I feel like it's more scattered and I have to like piece it together, then it becomes direct. But I don't really have success doing that because it feels like more things come up. Like instead of like a narrowing down, it's like an explosion.
Oh, really?
And yeah. And yeah, it's like I solve, like I get an answer to one question, like 3 more questions arise from that answer.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm not really narrowing down until I can get enough out there. I can like sort through everything and be like, okay, I can sort of see the pattern out of like the globs of data and like sort of like I guess draw a line through it, and then it becomes an I guess.
It sounds like you're describing NE almost.
I mean, I identify as an NE user in MBTI, so
that's why it's odd. That
right.
You might be an INTP, but it's not the pain you're avoiding. It's the fear that's constant. The pain is not too bad, right? So
yeah.
So it's you're definitely a very complicated person, or at least hard to distinguish what you are. But like, so
yeah.
Let's push aside the OP stuff for a bit, and
okay, sure.
let's just get to know you so we can kind of like understand you better.
Oh, sure.
So what kind of stuff do you like to do on a regular basis? Like, what are you
what do I enjoy? Mostly like reading, walking. I haven't been playing music a lot recently, but like listening to music, reading and walking, and video games sometimes, but like not that much. And then hanging out with friends every now and then.
And when you hang out with your friends, what do you guys do usually?
Mostly just like not really like not anything active, just sort of like, hang out in like a living room or watch TV together or maybe eat out together. But I moved back down from NorCal to SoCal. So I'm kind of like catching up. And I was in NorCal for I was in Northern California for like a good 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
But I'm like coming back and like getting back into the swing of things and seeing, how people are managing with their lives. So sort of like catching up and just like talking about some of the things that are going on with us.
Right.
Yeah.
And then what about books? What kind of books do you read when you read books?
A ton of like typology stuff. Like I have like 4 or 5 books on the Enneagram, and I also have books on like classical music books, some like music theory dissertations, which probably won't interest anyone that much. Yeah, just like basically I read about music I'm interested in, the people that make it. So like generally like musicians from like the 1900s to the 1950s, and reading what they wrote about other people's music and their own music, and just sort of like a historical context of like where they lie in like the scheme of humanity, I guess.
And
sorry, go on.
As far as the Enneagram goes, you come across as a type 9 or type 5. Are you any of those?
If you want to go with tri-type, they're both of my tri-type. But identify with 5 over 9, with like a little bit of 9, a little bit of 4, and then like a lot of 5.
Are you a type 5 wing 4 or type 5 wing 6?
4 wing.
So you like to be unique and different, like you like to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like like as soon as I like learn a skill, it's like I have to like insert my own like fingerprint on it.
Yeah.
That's like innately. I like can't do it like a plain ordinary way.
Now, what makes you a 5 wing 4, not a 4 wing 5 in that case?
I mean, the intensifying of emotions is something I can't sustain. Like I know what it's meant by like you like have a feeling and like you blow things out of proportion and make things worse than they are, and like hold on to that feeling, or you think of like something dramatic, something like ridiculous, like a family member dying and like you coping with their loss.
Yeah.
But it's not something that I can like stay in for a long time, which is like what 4s do, I guess.
So you're pretty detached with your emotions.
Absolutely.
I see. Okay. That makes sense. That makes absolutely perfect sense. Okay. So you're a 5 wing 4, and your tri-type is 9. What is your other tri-type?
Oh, wait, my tri-type is like 594. So
Oh, okay. I get it. Yeah. And you're also wing 4, so you're like a double.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay. That's why for you it's very important to be unique and different. I see.
Absolutely.
The type 9 is kind of like you numbing your emotion. That's kind of like, and you like to be easy, you like to be mellow. So
yeah, that's the part of me that like said yes to everyone, even though I didn't want to.
Yeah.
Until I finally was able to stop doing that.
Yeah. Okay, that makes perfect sense. Yeah. Okay. So it seems to me that you have a pretty good self-awareness about yourself. Like you know yourself pretty well.
I'm trying. Like I've been into typology for like 2 years, so I'm really like using it to like be more aware and like self-observe, self-reflect. So I'm really trying to like get to know me and my problems.
You know, the thing is, I've never heard of a ESFP that's a type 5. That's
me either.
That's going to be the most confusing thing, because type 5s are usually either an INFJ, INTP, ISTP. You know, like
INTJ.
Yeah, INTJ. Right. So those would be more of type that would be a type 5. So I'm trying to think now. I'm like, are you really an ESFP then? In that case. You don't like being controlled, but that could mean that you can be an INTP that's what do you call it? An INTP that has savior NE also, right? Like you could be a TINE, right? For example, and then in that case, you would also crave freedom, and you also don't like being told what to do. Because one of my friends is an INTP, and he absolutely hates being told what to do. He said, if you tell me what to do, I'm going to do the opposite of what you tell me, Like, do you resonate with that? Like,
I mean, I think it. I definitely consider it. In the end, I eventually do it, and but do it like once, and then the next time it's just like, nope, I'm not doing it again.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of like the whole ESFP thing, I understand why they typed me that based on like the video evidence I provided, but I think I was showing an unusual amount of like SF in that video.
Yeah.
And it definitely wasn't like I don't normally come across as the way I present. Like I basically talked about my values for like half the video, and obviously that leans more feeling.
Yeah.
So the thing I didn't mention in the video is that one of the values I talked about I actually read from a book.
Oh.
So it wasn't even my own value. It's something that I took from a book, and it's like, this makes sense. It makes sense. I should just do it. So it's like, it makes sense to do. I'm just going to do it.
Okay. Do you think you have a TI or FI? What would you say?
I mean, I originally thought I had feminine TI, because that would perfectly explain why, like, originally in MBTI I typed as an INFP, even though everyone thought it was INTP. I was like, no, I'm definitely INFP. Like, I have feelings. Like, I'm not like a dick, like the stereotypical like masculine T, like you're wrong.
Right.
Yeah. So I think masculine FE and feminine TI would like make the most sense. But people like have different opinions of what like feminine TI looks like. So, and I'm also like I'm pretty 4-ish in the Enneagram as well. So a lot of like the authenticity and values comes from that, and not necessarily from FI.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I honestly think I'd be like I mean, I self-typed as an NT before I got like unofficially typed in a phone call. But I definitely, based on the clips that I rewatched, I definitely don't come across NT at all. So it's understandable that they didn't type me that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I do not SF, generally speaking.
Yeah, you don't SF at all. You NT most of the time.
Yeah, like I can NF on a good day, but it's really hard to like, in terms of like the SF care about stuff in the physical world, it's really hard to like get me to like pay attention to physical reality when I can just like go into my mind and stay there.
So you live inside your head. You don't live in your body, because the stereotypical ESFP is usually good at either sports or dancing or some kind of performing arts. And do you suck at that stuff?
Yes. Kinesthetic. I'm not kinesthetic in any sense. My sister who's actually an MBTI ESFP is that stuff.
Yeah.
And when I got like OP ESFP and like compared myself to like stock ESFP, is like, no. I'm definitely not the stock ESFP, but I am one in OP.
Okay, so if you were an INTP or INFP, it would make sense you would have consumed first. That's definitely a given. Like that wouldn't be a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
If you had sleep second, that wouldn't be surprising either, because that would be like either your TI and SI or your FI and SI, right? So like, so they would both kind of make sense. The play would either be NEFE or NET, right? So what like. I'm starting to think you're an IP, to be honest. Like,
okay, all right.
I think I was wrong with the double decider thing. I think you're an IP now, actually. Whether you're INTP or INFP, I don't know, but I'd like to figure this out. So, like I said, you haven't been officially typed by them either, too, right? So maybe if you give them like a whole, like 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, full disclosure. So the call was actually not supposed to be a typing call at all.
Yeah.
It's actually supposed to be a coaching call. So like I wasn't like really prepped to set up a typing video or be officially typing like in any capacity. It's just sort of like I asked them for the observations, and that's what they observed from my video. So
Okay, so INTP or INFP, you're one of those. I think. Now I think you're one of those. I think if you are an INFP though, there would be no way you're a 5-wing 4. You would be a 4-wing 5.
Yeah. I mean, I can. Sorry, go on.
Sorry, INFPs are not type 5s. They don't have a type 5 INFP. There's a 4-wing 5 INFP.
Yeah.
So if you were an INFP, you would be a 4-wing 5. But if you're an INTP, then yeah, definitely 5-wing 4 makes perfect sense. So then the biggest question then is TI versus FI and FE versus TE, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you are feminine masculine, then you have masculine FE or TE. So we have to figure out how your demon manifests.
Yeah. Do you have masculine TE or do you have feminine?
I have feminine TE.
Oh, okay. So I don't know. I feel like you'd know what TE looks like better than I would because you.
Okay, I'll give you an example of what TE is. Okay, and maybe you can tell me if it resonates with you at all or not at all.
Sure.
Now keep in mind it is your 4th. If it is like if you do have it, so even though you have it, you might not know how to use it still. So
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I have feminine TE, and as a result, like it's my 3rd function, so I can plan and create like a plan of action that I would execute. And not only will I execute this plan will work for everybody because I've taken the time to ask everyone what works for them. Like I'll give you a concrete example. So let's say I'm planning a vacation, and I'm trying to think of a place that we would go to. So let's say I'm asking my family member, hey, where do you guys want to travel to? And then maybe one of my, let's say they said, oh, let's go to South America. I'm like, okay, cool, South America. Okay. Yeah. And then I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is where I want to go to South America, but where do you guys want to go in South America? So they'll be like, oh, we want to go to Peru and Bolivia. I'm like, okay, Peru and Bolivia, cool. What do you guys want to do there? What do you guys want to see? And they'll be like, oh, we want to see Machu Picchu. And we want to see, the salt flats in Bolivia. I'm like, cool. Okay, that's what I want to do too. And then I'll ask everybody, right? Like, make sure that no one's left out. So I'll be like, what about you? What about you? Do you want to see anything in particular? They're like, well, I really want to go to this one restaurant and eat the pizza there. I heard the pizza there is really good. But then no one else suggested that, right? But I'll be like, okay, how about this? We'll go to Peru. We'll go see Machu Picchu. And after Machu Picchu, we'll go to this pizza place and we'll go eat that. And then everyone's like, okay, yeah, that works for us. Cause and then I'm like, okay, great. So I'm making sure that everyone is appeased. Like everything that everyone wants to do is going to be done. And then I put it in the itinerary. So when I plan the itinerary for the trip, I make sure that we're doing everything in it. We're hitting everything that everyone wants to do. No one's being missed at all. Well, like if this was FE, it would be different, right? Like FE is more like someone like I'll give you an example. So a few days ago, a week ago, I was teaching a circuit training class, and the temperature in the fitness center studio that particular day was wonky as hell, and the room was so hot. It was so hot that at the end of the exercise of the class, one of the attendants, one of the person in attendance, started getting lightheaded and pale, and she had to sit down on the floor. And I gave her some sweets because I thought it was low blood sugar. Mm-hmm. But then after some time, she started puking all over the floor, right? Mm. And yeah, you're visual, so you can see that.
Yeah.
And so this guy that I work with, I'm pretty sure he has lead FE because he started consoling her. It's like, okay, that's okay. Just think positive. You're gonna be okay. So really like try to make her feel better. And that's kind of like what FE is like. She's trying to make her feel better, make sure that everyone feels good, and he's acting appropriately to the situation. So because she puked, obviously he's not going to be like, haha, you puke, haha, like, like he's going to be like, oh, are you okay? It's like he's going to have that appropriate facial expression, the appropriate mannerism, the appropriate consoling words, and everything is the appropriate thing to say for the appropriate moment, right? So that's kind of like the biggest difference between FE and T. So in your case, what do you see yourself doing more?
Man, that T, I'm getting super envy for like how I get able to like penetrate so well.
Yeah.
I definitely the whole planning T thing. I definitely don't do at all, and I can see like other T users doing it. It's like I wish I could do that. For me, it's just like I silently observe the super strong T users and be like, what are they doing? I'm just gonna do that, and it will work for everyone.
Yeah.
Because my experience is like I know what works for me, and I know like what works for certain individuals. Like it works for you and you and you, but not you. So I do something else for you.
Yeah.
And then if like if most of the people are like all in at once, it's like, okay, what the hell do I do?
Yeah.
And at that point, it's just I don't know, just nothing concrete, just like trying to appease the best I can. No direct plan, just sort of like deal on a moment to moment basis. Like, what do I think they need? What do I think they need? What do I think they need? Keep asking, are you okay? Okay. And it's super like the one thing about like FE or like MBTI FE I really resonate with is like looking for like visual cues of like people being okay.
Yeah.
So it's like you're trying to like gauge their emotional state when you're asking the question. You're not necessarily focused on what they're saying, but you're focused on like how they're saying it and like how they present when they're saying what they're saying.
So
So
you have FE then. That's what you have then. It's not TE. From the sound of things.
Yeah.
Because you said you wouldn't even know how to start like doing the TE stuff, right? But like
No.
you know what works for you, but then you said that you kind of like look to see how things are happening, and then like you pretty much explain what FE is. Like you don't do it enough probably, but you
Right. I try.
yeah, but yeah, you try, but it's there, but it's not like it wouldn't be your first pick, like
No.
yeah.
Like it's the stereotypical thing of like trying to console someone with like poking them with a stick. Is like, are you okay? Instead of like giving them a hug, it's just like feel better, feel better. Oh, okay, hold on, feel better, feel better.
Yeah.
It's like if you can like give them something to make them feel better, I feel there's a lot more ease doing that with like directly consoling them.
Yeah.
Even though in sometimes I can like nail it, like give them exactly what they need when they need it, and it works. But like those times are like so few and far in between.
Have you ever explored if you were an INFJ also?
Wow. Yeah, I didn't actually consider like NESI. So I mean, I'm sorry, I'm getting my terms mixed up. NISE. I didn't consider NISE being on that axis until I got the type from Dave and Shannon. It's like, what really? Am I really doing that? Yeah, because stereotypically like MBTI, like SC and INFP and INTP are like is like not great.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't really consider like me being like a main stack SE user.
Because an INFJ can be an INFJ can also be a type 5 wing 4,
Yeah.
And also they would also have TI. You might just have, your FE just might not be activated,
Mm-hmm.
You could be
Sure.
the weird INFJ that has sleep, consume, play, and blast last.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you might be the weird one. They do exist. I think I interviewed someone that had that actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
I agree. The INFJ jumpers are like super like not stereotypical INFJ.
yeah. So you're either an INTP. I don't think you're an INFP anymore. From what I can see, you're either an INFP. Sorry, INTP or a jumper INFJ, because that's kind of like the INTP hasn't left yet. It's still there, but I'm just kind of exploring like the possibility that you could be an INFJ also, because you talk about music a lot. There was a huge smile on your face when I said you want to be different and unique, so that you definitely have,
cool. Okay, I'm glad I actually emoted that because sometimes I don't emote what I'm thinking.
Oh, it was a massive emote. So
Cool.
okay, so I'm like, okay, so that's like a clue that for me that you have FE, and that was spot on because that resonated with you, right?
Yeah.
If you were NITI, then that would also mean that you do a lot of processing internally, right? Like, and especially with your identity, So,
Yeah.
like what works for you, right? Like so.
Correctly.
But it's still very confusing because I don't know what you're gathering. What are you gathering anyways when you gather stuff?
That's a hard
You read
question.
books, you said, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. It's sort of like I mean, the reason why the number one reason that I'd say that I wouldn't be an INFJ jumper is that the first thing that they noticed, Dave and Shan, they actually they both typed me, even though Shan was the only one on the call with me.
Yeah.
They both said gather is the first thing they noticed. So the first thing they noticed was OE, and that's because in the videos I was talking about like how I'm 29 now, how I spent most of my 20s like jumping around from place to place. Like I think I moved like 4 or 5 different times. Switched universities 4 times.
Okay.
Yeah, so super like OE.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, I get it. Okay, I see what's happening. Okay.
Yeah.
So you didn't mind moving, and therefore, if you had sleep first, you would not be moving that much.
Probably not.
I see. Oh my God. Then, well, like I said, I don't want to go against what they said, but
yeah,
maybe you are an INTP because that makes sense. We consume first, right, and then sleep second. That's very standard INTP actually. Like TINE is consume, TISI is sleep, and then NEFE is your play. I guess when you hang out with people and stuff, right? I can definitely tell you don't blast that much. That's pretty obvious to me. That's super obvious.
Yeah.
So that's spot on. Wow, that's so interesting. Okay. I think right now I'm more inclined to believe you're INTP.
Yeah.
Now, and I think whatever MBTI test you took before, it sounds like it was right. So that's just from my perspective. I don't know if I'm right or not. That's just my perspective. And five wing 4. Yeah. Okay.
I'll probably. I keep talking about like I did an interview with Benjamin as well, and I kept talking about like these videos that I shot, and maybe I'll actually release them so people can actually see.
Yeah.
And have some context.
What did Benjamin say to you when he interviewed? Did he think you were an ESFP?
He thought I was he didn't think because he like tried to like probe me like my reasoning state.
Yeah.
And he sort of like assessed that I went to reason ahead of values.
Yeah.
So he thought he saw demon intuition in me because they describe Dave and Shan describe demon intuition as like I don't understand, I don't get it. Yeah. And a lot of that came across in the interview, primarily because I didn't really understand how they just were describing the terms. Now I have a better understanding of it.
Yeah.
So I think demon intuition really came across in me. So I think he typed me like SENI. Why can't I get the functions right? SENI for that reason. I'll have to ask him exactly what he saw, but basically I think this happened off the interview. He said I could either be like ESFP or ESTP, but my NE wasn't like super off the wall crazy, so that's why I think I might be overstepping here, but I think people have like a very on-off view of NE, at least in OP. It's like if they don't see it like blaring them in the face, it's like they assume you don't have it. That could be like just a personal opinion of mine. Like it's not like gospel truth, but I'm not sure if they see NE clearly.
I'm a lead NE, so I get it, and only people with NE gets it. So I talk to other NE users, and we all get it, right? Like, but to explain what it is, it's so hard. It's almost like a passive skill, It's not even active; it's passive. Like, like NEFI and NET for me, it's super different. Like the way I use it, like I almost don't even see how I use NE by itself. Like it's always NEFI or NETE, Like okay, like I'll give you an example of NEFI that I would do. Like let's say a few days ago I was out in the shower and I'm just taking a bath, and then like I came up with a storyline for a video that I wanted to make. It all completely in my head, came out of nowhere, just like, and I pieced it together, like how it would connect together, the characters, what the characters would wear and whatnot, and the speech, the conversation they would be having, and I even had the punchline. Right? And I had it like it was gonna be a comedy, right? Like, and like I had it all in my head, and I was like, where the hell did that come from? And like, it's like it's almost passive, but it happened internally. Like it's so FI is all about like imagination, my feelings and stuff, right? So like it was like a conversation inside my head between two characters that I just made up out of like I don't even know where it came from. Like no one would have told me this. Like it's not like I saw those things. It's not like priming. Do you know priming?
No, I don't.
Like like they talk about like Darren Brown, where like this person saw this earlier in the day, therefore later in the day they
Oh, okay.
Thought
Yeah, I
about
get
that,
it.
right?
Sure.
They thought about that because they saw it earlier today. No, that didn't even happen. Like I tried to figure it out. I'm like, no, like it literally came out of nowhere, right? But then if I'm doing NET, it would be a completely different story, right? Like I could be telling a story and then I would like bring up something that happened completely unrelated,
Yeah.
and then it's just like, this person did this. Remember this person did this, and then like I'll throw in like a quick like witty joke out of nowhere, and it like comes out of nowhere. Like I don't even know. Like I'll give you like a funny example. So like I was playing video games with my friends when I was a kid, and we're playing like I love wrestling, like WWE, like yeah, like I'm like I've been watching since I was 3 years old. I'm in my 30s now. I still love it.
Nice.
And so like I'm playing with my friends, and I have this like one friend who like he keeps pausing the game, right? Because he's losing,
Yeah.
right? So but like before like so that the second time he did it, I unpaused the game, right? And I said, can't pause to think, right? Like the kind of like make fun of him, right? I'm like, wow, that's a really clever line, right? Like can't pause to think. Kind of like saying that he's like stupid or something. Like he has to pause the game to think about what the move is, right? Like so it's like, okay, like that's an NE with my T, right? Like I'm like jabbing the tie with my tribe, my friends, with like a witty joke that like came out of nowhere, right? Like like how did I connect that pausing the game is associated with thinking, right? Like you have to pause the game to think, like like it happened like in a split of a moment. So like NE is like, it's not just connecting things. Like sometimes you pull something out of nowhere, and you now have a concept, but then you connect it with something. So if you are indeed an INTP, then your NE would be double activated. So you would have NE with TI and NE with FE. So how do you converse with your friends? Like talk shit with them, or do you or are you trying to learn something from them? Like
I feel like I just like nonstop consume. at any given time, it's like I'm always asking them for like either their opinion on things, or the thing I love about FI is that you can get them to talk about what they like really easily. So I can just like sort of like it takes the pressure off me to like actually blast by myself.
Yeah.
So I just like try to get them to like trigger the blast, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And like, interesting. Tell me more.
Are you actually interested though?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Like it's I'm selfishly listening to them, but at the same time selfishly feeling my need to like not blast and not reveal my my feminine DI, because I feel even though it's like completely irrational, it's like any given thing I could say could be like met with rejection, even though it like rarely ever is. It's still something that I like constantly aware of, is like how much the cost of like putting myself out there and like the potentiality. I mean, there's the fear. the fear of like rejection, I guess.
Okay.
But interesting. Can you explain why you think I'm an IP?
I mean, you explained it already earlier. Like you said, you're 80% self, 20% tribe. You said you were talking about like one question leads to 3 more questions. That's super NE, because I just did an interview before I was talking to you, and the guy who I was interviewing would say something, and that whatever he said to me would actually produce 2 or 3 more questions.
Yeah.
I would actually tell him, like, if you watch the interview, you probably hear me saying, whatever you just said produce 2 questions now that I want to ask you. And I would actually ask them. So like the fact that you said that told me, it's like, oh my God, that's NE. That's freaking NE, right? Because if it's NI, it's like, I know. Like, it's kind of like, I'm trying to build on something. But then you're talking about 1 question led to 3 question, led to more question, led to more question. And it's like a never ending, like, consume loop, right? Like,
exactly.
And that's what I do. So like, okay, I'm like shit, like, does this guy have NE then? Like, how is he an ESFP if like he's saying this? Like, it sounds like he's using NE, so like that's kind of like where I got that. Whether that you are an INTP or not, I like, like I said, I don't really know, but it seems to me that you might definitely be an INTP, or I can't really think of anything else right now. It's like it's INTP or jumper INFJ, but that's far-fetched from what you said to me. So okay, what about like what about by yourself when you're consuming stuff for yourself? Okay, like hold on, pause your thought for that. When you talk to someone and one of your friends says something illogical, do you jump on them, tell them to like?
Okay, sorry. You go. I'm also listening.
Yeah. Yeah, let's say like one of your friends says something to you illogical, like completely like that doesn't make any sense. Do you jump on them on that, or do you like just think it in your head but you don't say anything?
It depends. Like I can generally like internalize it, except if I keep doing it.
Yeah.
Or it's like something illogical that they're like gonna act, and it's like, stop, don't do that. Do not do that. It's like, wait, just do this other thing. I mean, it's not. I don't tell them they're wrong or they're bad. I try and like give them like a more correct. I try to like indirectly tell them that they're wrong by suggesting an alternative. And sometimes they catch on, sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's like they do, they take my advice without like realizing that I was like correcting their like faulty reasoning. And that's ideal. Other times I'm really irritating. I just like, no, that's wrong.
So you don't jump on people. You kind of just indirectly try to change their course.
Right. It's like I try and suggest them in the right direction and hope that they take it.
Okay. That's interesting. And then earlier you were talking about that. What were you talking about? You were talking about something about history that you were researching. What was that thing again about history?
Oh, just like it's really interesting to get like the historical context of people you find interesting. So like sort of like what made the person and like how society contributed to like the output the person produced.
Sounds like you were doing. Sounds like you were doing SI there.
Yeah, I actually basically the whole of the typing video I was doing SI because I was like recalling the past.
Yeah,
like talking about like a present situation, like giving past experiences to like sort of like align my current situation to my past, except that because I don't think in OP they make like the past present distinction between SE and SI.
Yeah.
So they just saw sensing and they already typed me as OE, so they just sort of like plug and played SE.
Yeah.
I think that's how they got it.
Yeah. But it sounds like to me, when you mentioned it earlier, I was thinking to myself, because like, you know, when we first started the interview today, ESFP was kind of like the type that we started with. And like, there's so many things that you said earlier. I was like, is that NE? And then like later on, when you talk about the history, I'm like, is that SI? I was like, what the heck? What's going on here? This doesn't match up with ESFP. Like I said, you know, you haven't been officially typed yet, so I don't know. But like, I was like, what the hell's happening here? You know, so but then your main interest is music, which is also confusing then, you know, because like if your main interest is music, shouldn't you be MF then, you know?
I mean, I watched one of Rodgers' interviews. I don't actually remember if it was with you or if it was with Binyamin, but
yeah,
it definitely resonated as like being like the NT in like an F-dominated field because like obviously there's like a ton of NFs and ton of SFs in music.
Yeah.
And like not that many. I mean, there are a few STs, but like hardly any NTs.
Oh, so, Raja, he was the INTJ in the acting world.
Yeah, that's right. So like performing arts is like generally heavily feeling dominated.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So you're in that field, but like, how did you fall into that area then?
I don't know. I guess I'm not sure if you're like familiar with like Gardner's multiple intelligences.
No.
But basically it theorizes like it's not just like IQ. It's basically like you can be kinesthetically smart, musically smart, like have a good sense for like nature and cooking, interpersonal and interpersonal intelligence. It's basically like a spectrum of intelligences. And my musical intelligence like ranks really highly.
Oh, okay.
So it's like I've always been like good at it, and it's always been something that I've done as a hobby, but I didn't really take it in. I didn't really take it seriously until like my early to mid 20s when I like discovered a composer from one of the composers I mentioned whose history I was interested in. I listened to some of his music and it really felt like my inner world. It's like he was inside my head and like blasting out all my ideas musically. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So then that's why I got interested in fully in music and like really invested in music and like got into like one of my like values is like self-expression, and that's what came from that one individual who I think is INFP. That's just my opinion of him. I think it's like an INFP guy who like was alive from like the 1900s to 1950s, and he basically says, you know, self-expression is basically like how humans can like redeem themselves and like bring about their salvation. Yeah. And I was like thinking about it, that guy might be right. So then I sort of like took like every single action as like an expression of like a self-expression of some sort in their like humanity in general.
Yeah.
Like the things that like separate us also is like what makes us human, and that's like the ability to express ourselves in a way that only we can individually, which is like super FI. But that's because it came from someone who's likely 4 an FI on the Enneagram. So I sort of like adopted that mindset, and it sort of like radicalized, like radically changed how I saw like life, I guess. So I definitely, I can live in the feeling world. I can like learn from feelers and like be around feelers and like it's really frustrating to like try and explain something conceptually, and like it's like met with indifference. That really annoys me sometimes. But what are we talking about? I lost my train of thought.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you definitely have feminine sensory, because you keep forgetting like things. So that part is obvious that you have feminine SI or SE, but in this case, I'm almost like I'm almost bought in that you're an INTP. Just like after talking to you for this like an hour now. And I definitely think you have feminine S sensory. That's guaranteed. How does your masculine tribe come out? That's kind of confusing. Like, because it's either so let's say masculine FE. Let's say that's what you have. So how does that come out? Like, do you try to tell people how they should behave in certain situations?
I mean, more or less. It's like I definitely have that like don't be an asshole. Like if I think someone's like over crossing a line, it's like fucking stop. Even if it's not me.
Yeah.
If it sees like someone else crossing a line, it's like don't do that.
So do you actually tell them that? Don't be an asshole. Like, do you tell people that?
Basically, if it gets really bad, sometimes I can just like get like really, I guess, really stern and really like adult school teacher like.
Yeah.
And have like the disapproving waving finger is like just don't do
like
that.
You become like an ESFJ with like masculine FE.
Basically.
And you're like, oh no, don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay. I don't know if masculine TE would come across as that at all. It sounds like masculine FE.
So. Yeah.
Because I've had bosses before with masculine TE, and that's never what they told me. Like I had one manager once when I was working in a community center. Long time ago, I was working in the front desk, and they weren't allowing you to work in the front desk and the fitness center. You had to kind of make a choice, right? But I kept, I'm an EP, so I keep breaking the rules, right? So I keep trying to sneak in and work in a fitness center, and they're like, so one day the manager of this big building said to me, you need to make a decision what you're gonna do. You're either gonna be a trainer or you're gonna work in a front desk, but you can't have both. So make a decision now. So it's like trying to like force me to take a decision on what works for me. So she doesn't care what works for me as long as I make a decision what works for me. Because for her, what is important is what works for the tribe, and she's kind of pushing us to hurry up, to make that decision, right?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, long story short, it was a trap because when I chose fitness, they pretty much said, "Oh yeah, we're not hiring for fitness," and then I just lost my job. But it wasn't her that trapped me though, because for her, it was an FE lead lady, like someone with like, I think feminine FE who was kind of passive aggressive that kind of trapped me into that. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe the lady trapped me. But
sounds all right.
I snuck back in the system later on, so she wasn't very clever. Yeah, like I found all the loopholes. But anyway, so yeah, okay, dude. So I think I'm sold. I think you're an INTP in my opinion. I think the animals completely spot on. FM, I think, also spot on. So I think your self-assessment was actually correct.
Yeah, I actually I definitely, when I typed myself, I got my animals and sexuals wrong. I flipped blast and play, and I put myself as MM. But even though kinesthetic like didn't play it out at all. Like I knew I wasn't kinesthetic, but it's like I knew I had feminine identity is one thing like stuck out to me, but like sensory I couldn't really figure out. You correctly pointed out to me that I couldn't keep track of time. So so yeah, I think
it's so obvious to me when someone has feminine sensory. That one is like always a dead giveaway. You know, they always forget what they're gonna say next. They forget the time. You know, they just keep forgetting all this stuff, right? I'm like, okay, feminine sensory. I'm talking to someone feminine sensory. It's, especially when you keep doing it the whole interview. I'm like, okay, you know. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think the one reason I thought I couldn't be is because I noticed that like for other sensory, this must be like a tie between like masculine intuition and feminine sensory, where they can forget the sensory details but like insist that they're correct.
Yeah.
and that's what really like brings out like the masculine NI or the masculine. What am I saying? Masculine SI of like that's not what happened. Stop rewriting history. But I think most cases, I'm pretty forgetful.
All right, dude. So we're gonna wrap up the interview pretty soon. I have 2 final questions for you. So question number 1, if you have since we now think that you are an INTP, I'm gonna put unofficial. Obviously, when we upload this, I'm gonna put you're an INTP. I'm gonna be rebellious, and I'm gonna put unofficial, unofficial assessment, and we'll put so basically how do you think an INTP should approach the tribe so that they don't get the tribe hating them, number 1, and number 2, so you don't get as much tribe resentment? What can you do to avoid building tribe resentment?
That's really tough because it's either like you're a TI asshole, you're satisfied and the tribe hates you, or you're appeasing the tribe and being resentful at you yourself for appeasing the tribe.
Right.
So
where's the happy medium then?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, ideally, you want to be around people you actually like. Yeah, that's really easy. But because that's not reality.
Yeah.
And you're forced to deal with like the global tribe, and it's like you can't really interfere. You can't really control who's like in your life or not.
Yeah.
The best way is to take it. I don't know. You have to basically make an effort to like monitor your relationship with the tribe, and like it's sort of like the best way I can say is like you sleep on your play. So you play with the tribe, and then instead of sleeping on your consume, what you're interested in, you're sleeping on your play, which is how you interact and like make the tribe happy. And it's something that I find it really, really hard to do, like sustain. It's like I end up like actually doing it successfully, but like I go to sleep, wake up next day completely drained. It's like I have no patience for the tribe. So then it sort of like falls apart.
Yeah.
So if I was to give advice to myself, it would be to like get a routine going of like start slow. You know, don't try and like go full speed like tribe appeasement. Try and like set up.
Yeah.
So basically, set yourself up to succeed. Like start small. Start incrementally. Like how can I use my known information to make the tribe happy, or how can I retain what the tribe's telling me without dismissing it immediately? Just sort of like be more cognizant of like the small things you can do to make the tribe happy, and start building up from there. And hopefully it works. But sometimes the tribe is just coming to you and like being like, do this. So it's really hard when the tribe's like pushing you. It's really easy when you can help the tribe on your own, but if the tribe is pushing you, it's really hard just not to be like, back up. Just like, get off me, I'm not doing this stupid thing that's completely illogical and waste everyone's time, and you can predict the outcome that's going to happen, but they won't believe you, and then it happens, and it's like, well, what did you expect?
Yeah.
But I guess any intuitive can have that as well. So
it seems to me that the real answer that you were trying to figure out, or at least that came out of what you just said, is really to be preemptive. Like, okay, what nice thing, because obviously you don't have TE, right? But you have FE. So like, what nice thing can I do for a friend and after I do that nice thing, I can run away back in my home. You know, like it's
Yeah,
like a quick hit and run. Like
exactly.
like it's like, hey, you know, I'll buy you lunch or something, or like, hey, you know, like tell me about what happened to you guys. 1 hour done. You were preemptive, right? It's done.
Yeah.
Like you initiate. Like I feel like you should almost put in your calendar. Like, okay, like today is Tribe Thursdays or something, and then like, you know, like, and then like today I'm gonna do something nice for my friends. So it's like I either buy them like, you know, lunch or dinner, or like I don't know, like send them a gift, like some small gift, or like, you know, like go to an event together, like I don't know, just like Tribe Thursdays or something. Like that's, and it like I feel like if you just do that like for the rest of your life, like you have like you designate like one day,
Yeah.
like I'm just gonna do nice things for the tribe, and then you're preemptive about it. I don't think you're gonna have any tribe tidal waves at all, because then like people will be like okay, you know, like Bradley's being a jerk. It's like, wait a minute, he keeps doing nice stuff to us though. Every week he does that. It's like, oh, you know what? Hey, you know what? He's a nice guy. He's not doing anything bad.
Yeah, it's more like we come together, and it's like sometimes I can be too nice.
Yeah,
it's a problem. And so it's like I can do something nice, as I could go away. It's like, wait, where are you going? No, I want to go away. No, they keep following me. It's like, no, leave me alone.
Yeah.
It's like, where did he go?
Yeah, but
something that can happen too.
Yeah, but then you can be preemptive, right? Like once a week, you just do this and you're done.
Yeah, it's like it's really hard like to gauge. I think it's really hard to like overextend when you're using like a DE.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like the balance of like how much is enough. Sometimes you can overgive and you have nothing to give, and you don't really set yourself in a position to like keep doing it steadily, because it's like you do the work of like 3 weeks in 1 week, and then you have nothing to give the next week, and it's just like a mess.
Maybe you should start small, like do it once a month.
Yeah, exactly.
And then like your goal is to eventually build up to once a week, and I think the once a week is like the happy medium, you know.
Yeah, but basically like endurance training, right? It's like you like slowly start to like condition yourself to do something over and over again.
Yeah, like it's like lifting weights. So right now you can only like do like 10 pounds, so that's like once a month, right? But later on, I mean, you know, it's a really good life advice too, right? Like you know, like they said that you're the average of the 5 people you're closest to, right? Mm-hmm. So like you want to pick like 4 friends that you really want to build like a long-term relationship with, friendship. Right. And you just do nice things for those 4 people, and then that's it. And then you see them once a month each. Like yeah. you can even do the same thing for each of them. Like literally, like you don't, so you don't run out of ideas, right? Like, okay, like today, me and this person's gonna hang out. We're gonna go grab lunch. Next week, me and this person, we're gonna go hang out. We're gonna grab lunch. It's the same shit. It's the same shit, just different people, right? Yeah. You know, and then like, yeah, then you're done. Like you're a piece of tribe. They'll leave you alone now. Do whatever you want. You know.
That's good. That's really good.
All right. All right, dude. So one last thing. Do you have any questions for me that like maybe functions that I have that you don't have? Like, it seems to me that TE is the thing that you're most curious about. I'm not really sure, but I don't think you have FI also. But
that's actually you actually correctly guessed where I was going. I was actually going to ask you about FI because a lot of people say that they can see it in me. I guess when I gave my values in the video, in the typing coaching call video,
yeah.
Shan noticed I have like very personal and individual values.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I feel like I have some maybe like individual values that are unique to myself, but I think on like the whole global scale of like FIs, if example like the global FI, I feel like FI users sort of like care about so many things. And I was going to see how. Let me sort of narrow down and clarify. How do you see FI in me like she did, or is it something that you only see FE?
Well, I can give you an example how I use FI, and then you can see if it resonates with you. Okay,
sure.
That's I think probably the best way to do it.
Yeah.
So I'll give you 2 examples. Number one, like if I'm planning for the future, let's say I'm using my NE and my FI, I'm thinking to myself, okay, so I'm presented with 3 career paths. Let's say fitness, travel, and typology. let's say those are the 3 paths presented to me, right?
Sure.
Which is actually the 3 things I'm doing right now.
Nice.
which one where I can see myself being happy to do in the next 20 years? And I look at fitness and I think, okay, fitness for me feels more like a hobby. It's not a passion. It's not something like I love and I can see myself doing for the next 20 years. I've been doing it for 6 years now, but it's more like and it's more like pays the bills, you know? Like it's something that I don't hate, but I don't love it. I just don't hate it, you know?
Yeah.
It's the only thing that I can do for a day job that I don't hate. That's why. That's what I want.
Personally, I think that you made the right decision.
Yeah.
with doing something that you don't love, but something you don't hate, and yeah,
I don't hate it. Yeah, I don't hate it. I feel like I'm learning something that I can use for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm also helping people, you know, improve their health. So I think that part I like, but you know, I don't like the working for someone part, you know. Now I've tried it as a business before, so I tried to do it for myself and I hated it also. I hate it, so I prefer to do it as an employee and I prefer it to do it as a day job for now. Will I do it forever? I might do it kind of as a side hobby where I'm teaching like 1 or 2 classes a week and that's it. Like it's a side just for fun thing, you know, like, but I wouldn't, it's not my desire to have it as my long-term career. My long-term career wise, I have a travel blog that I run and that I can see myself doing forever because I enjoy every part of traveling and even planning travel. And also the typology stuff I can see myself doing forever because I love typology. I talk about it every day. So from a self-interest perspective, I'm like, I really love this thing. And on a scale of happiness, I put it like, you know, between 8 out of 10 to 10 out of 10 in the happiness scale. So that for me is, that's one facet of FI. The other facet of FI is like, I could observe people and their behavior. And if I notice that like one person, let's say, like, I don't want to talk shit about anyone. So, but my sister doesn't have FI and I've seen her.
Okay.
And so I noticed that she would act one way with a group of people. Like she I don't know if it's being a chameleon or whatever, but with another group of people, she would act completely different and she would tell them completely different stuff. Like with one group of people, she'll say, maybe she'll notice that they value someone with higher education. So she'll tell them she's working on a PhD. But then when she...
Wait, is she lying or is she telling the truth?
I don't think she knows.
Okay.
And then she'll go to the next group and then she'll say, and then she can tell that this group values more like happiness and being free. And so she'll say something like, I don't even want to go, I'm not going to get my PhD. I'm going to finish my master's and that's it. Because I want to be happy. I want to live my life. And I'm like, what the hell? You said completely different things to this 2 group of people. Like you just, like you were very inauthentic in that sense, right? And then like my sister was an ENFP with FI, freaked out, right? She's like, you know, like what the fuck are you doing? Like why are you saying this shit? Like that's not what you said to the last group. Like, you know, and then she'll say something completely different to us too, right? And then now it's like, so it's like there's no consistency in your behavior, you know, like that's kind of like FI, right? Consistency in your behavior. So now that I give you an example, do you think you have TI or FI?
I mean, I definitely resonated with FE when you said that.
Yeah. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with it, you know.
Right. Well, it depends on how far you take it. Like if you're just straight up lying, I've been in those positions where I don't know how I don't get caught doing it. But I definitely present different versions of myself to different people.
Yeah.
Based on what I think they want to hear.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I feel like every single time I like have like an FI value, it's like there's either like FE or TI like staring it down. It's like FI, and it's like TI. Nope, doesn't make sense. Get down.
Yeah,
okay, you're gone.
Doesn't make sense. That's right. You're using the word doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
All right. Oh my God, man, you're INTP. You're an INTP.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we'll see. I guess.
We'll find out if that's right or not. But right now, I'm pretty much sold. You're an INTP. All right. All right, dude. Thanks for doing the interview, and you know, we'll say goodbye to everyone, and I'll pause.
Yeah. Bye. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Bye.